Patric Fransko founded Eye Magnet Management in 2015 to bring world-class marketing services to businesses of any size. With nearly 25 years of experience helping build everything from large international corporations to smaller privately held organizations, Patric's objective is to bring clients a straightforward, pragmatic approach to marketing that is primarily driven by results for the client. He is also the founder of the Window Film Professionals group on Facebook and LinkedIn. Please welcome Patric Fransko.
Get some context in the room, I just want, by show of raise of hands, who in the room is not using AI at all? Like, no experience with it at all? Okay, we got a couple. Who in the room is using AI but just casually, maybe some chat GPT, things like that, but not using it much? Okay, and then who is actually feels like they're using it as an integral part of their business, like daily using it? And who is actually paying to have service? Okay, so we got a good mix in the room. So my goal for today is to try to discuss some, the best thing I can achieve, hopefully, is the people that aren't using AI or using it very casually to leave here with an understanding of a couple tools you can do. AI is so vast, it's hard to touch on even scratching the surface today, but we're going to touch on some practical tools that you can begin using right when you get home. And then the other thing is, I just want to have everybody place AI, whether we like it or not, and we can have a huge debate over, AI, but it's coming. So I'm encouraging everybody in this room to start spending some time with AI, because whether we like it or not, it's coming, and if you don't start to adapt to it, you're going to get washed away. It's kind of, when I first started doing marketing and social media, a lot of people didn't want to get involved in marketing on social media, and I tried to encourage people to start dabbling with it because it was going to start moving really quickly and they weren't going to be able to catch up. And Brent and I used to do social media talks 20 years ago or 15 years ago when people looked at us like we were weird. But here's the deal, social media is minor compared to the changes that are going to come with AI. So I really encourage you guys to start using it. It doesn't mean you have to spend all your time, but don't put your head in the sand about it. So I'm going to start today with a little story about a little bit of my past. Some of you know, 10 days after high school, I went into the Navy. I learned how to work on jets. I was an avionics technician on jets, and I got stationed. My squadron was an F-18 squadron, and I got stationed, deploying on an aircraft carrier. And this will all make sense in a second. The first time when you go, when you're new, you go out to work on an aircraft carrier during flight ops, I can't even explain to you when you walk out of the catwalk how you feel going on the flight deck. It's a little bit overwhelming. You think you're going to die at any second, and it just feels like this is just chaos and everything. Probably a lot like sports people, the first time they play at the next level, it feels like things are moving really fast. So what they do in the Navy to help you through that process is they take a more seasoned person and they tell you until you're signed off on, that person's going to take you up on the flight deck and you have to hold their middle back belt loop. Everywhere they go, you have to actually have your finger around their belt loop, and they lead you around the flight deck to make sure you're not going to get into trouble. And after a while, things start slowing down, you start understanding what's going on up there, and you start to be able to operate individually. The reason I tell you that story is I feel like a lot of people, when they approach AI, feel like I did the first time I walked out of that catwalk. Like, this is overwhelming, I don't understand it, and the easiest thing for me to do is go back down that ladder and get the hell out of here, off this flight deck. But I think if you stick with it a little bit, and you start dabbling with it a little bit, I think you'll be amazed at how quickly you start to understand it, and it starts to slow down, and you start to understand how these tools can work. So what I ask for you is, even if it feels a little overwhelming, at least commit to holding on to that back belt loop and just trying to kind of get comfortable with it. And I think you'll be amazed at how quickly you start to. So, some things we're going to talk about today are why AI matters for your small business, simple ways to get started, easy tools to try, and some practical tips for success. You guys will find out pretty quick, I'm not a big PowerPoint guy, but I got it up there. So what is AI in simple terms? Artificial intelligence is essentially computer skills that, smart tools that help you get things done faster, get things done better. We're gonna get into all this, but it's like having a digital assistant. It's like having somebody that's really smart that makes you look good. Like, hopefully you guys have all had a situation where you had somebody that makes work for you or assistant, things like that, and they're so good, people think you're actually that good, but the reality is it's the person that's working for you. And that's kind of, I think, what ChatGPT and some of the other tools we're going to talk about are like. So why it matters now? Time is your most valuable resource. I mean, I don't care what you have, what building you have, what materials you have, what tools you have, the most valuable thing you have is time. And what AI allows you to do is save time. It could also help you save money by automating tasks, but a lot of it comes down to it's helping you save time, which then ultimately saves you money. It allows you to do more with the same amount of time or work more efficiently. It can also help with your marketing and your customer service, and your competition, whether you like it or not, are starting to dabble in this. So if you're not doing it, you're going to start falling behind your competition. I've talked, because I do marketing for people all over the country, I sometimes talk to veterans in the business that are really good hitters, people who can win this contest out here. And they talk to me about, hey, how, they've been in business 25 years, and this guy just opened up a shop 2 years ago, and he's not as good of a tinner as their tinners, but he's actually eating their lunch with regard to business. And a lot of that is that person that came in 2 years ago is adapting all the modern tools. Their facility looks like it should in the modern day. And what happened is the person the skill is part of it. How you put the film on the windows is part of it, but the perception of the new shop is that this is the shop to go to. It's clean, it's modern, the way they're marketing themselves on social media, things like that is modern. So the perception out there is that person is better than the other shop, that actually in reality is better than them. So AI is the same way. People are going to start using these tools, whether you use them or not. If you start to not use them, just understand that you're falling behind your competition, because other people in your market are going to use these tools. So, where to start using AI? So we're going to talk about a handful of tools here in a minute, but some of the tasks you can use AI for: marketing and social media. You use it for website development. You can use it for your business planning. You can use it for customer service things. You can use it for day-to-day tasks that take you time. And you can even use it for financial planning and retirement. And again, not to get on a sidetrack, but it's amazing what it'll do. Like, I've sometimes played around with it and said, if I want to retire at this age and I have this much money and I'm putting this much away and I expect to live this long and I expect inflation to be good, and you feed it in all this data, it'll tell you to the penny how much you can spend every month and not never run out of money in your lifetime. And it'll do all that in about 2 minutes. So use AI for social media marketing. We're going to kind of go through these. How many people have used either ChatGPT or Grok to write a social media post, write a blog, anything like that in the room? Anybody want to shout out what their experiences were the first or second time they tried that? Anybody?
Overwhelmed.
Go ahead. It was good? Yep. Did you find that it was as good as what you could have done if you spent a couple hours doing it? Not as good? better? What did you find?
Almost.
Almost as good?
Yeah. I had to go in and edit each one and have to do my voice, but it was still pretty good.
Great. That's exactly, I'm glad you said that, because you actually, it's not up here on the screen, but one of the things I want to warn you guys about, AI still has something that happens that are called AI hallucinations. It's imperative that whenever you guys use AI, that you look at what results it gives you, and you proofread it, and you edit it, and things like that. There are times when AI will, because they call it hallucination, will put something in your results that don't make any sense. So if you just go ahead and copy and paste it and throw it into something, you could really find yourself in trouble. So what it allows you to do, though, which I love what you said, is if you have an idea for some logs, and you just want to get a reference point so that you can start editing it, it can build that main thing, and then you can go in and do some edits, and you've now built a 1,000-word log in 20, 25 minutes, where that might have taken you 3, 4, 5 hours before. But it's not on cruise control. You can't just say, copy and paste it and throw it in. You still have to spend some time looking at it. Create ads and content ideas. Here's where I use it, even as somebody in marketing that actually has spent a lifetime doing content creation and things like that. A lot of times I will create a post in how I would want to say it. I'll create a post, a piece of creative, whatever, the way I would want to say it. I'll take that, I'll put it in AI, and I'm like, can you write this in a way that's more engaging? Can you write this in a way that encourages people to click the link that's in the post more? So what I use is I don't use it to do all the work for me. I use it to make my work better. And it's amazing, it does make my work better. I'll be the first person up here to say I'm not as good as AI. AI is better than me because the way that it can craft things. AI is a tool, though, for you to use. It's not, if you're a mechanic and you have a wrench, that wrench has a certain amount of value because you know how to use the wrench. And it allows you to do work that brings you value. AI is a tool, no different than a wrench. It's not somebody that's going to come in and do the work for you. But as you all probably know, if you have the right tool, it makes the job easier. This is the right tool. Learn how to use AI because it's a tool that you can use to make your job easier. So you can make your job better. When I ask AI to help me, here's a post I'm going to give you. Can you give me a couple options that make this post more engaging? It gives me 3 options that are alternatives to what I wrote, and makes it a little bit more engaging. And there's oftentimes I like what they created better than I like what I put in. Sometimes I like what they created and I add a little bit of my own stuff. But it's like having a really smart person sitting right next to you to help you do it. The other thing, make emails to send to customers, whether that's follow-up emails, whether those are outgoing marketing emails. With the 2 main email things I have here, MailChimp and Constant Contact. They both have AI tools that can allow you to quickly build email templates, email platforms that you can use as a follow-up for everybody that you're doing business with, or reach out to new people to do business. A lot of people have kind of shied away from emails. It's kind of old school, but let me tell you, if you have a good quality email list and you use it effectively, it's still a great marketing tool. And AI can help you even get better use out of that. Use AI to help with customers. Historically, I have not been a big fan of chatbots because they're very limited and they feel a little clunky, they don't do exactly what we want. I'm telling you, if you had the same feeling that I had, it's worth looking into the latest ways chatbots can work with AI, because I think they've gotten to the point where they can interact with somebody at a fairly high level, no matter what somebody asks. The issue with that is you have to feed AI with the data. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this in a second. How you prompt AI or how you build AI allows it to get smarter, allows it to understand your business. So if you prompt the chatbot with all the different things, and you think about it, all the things you would say to customers if they call. You could sit there and just put all of this in AI. Say, this is kind of how our company culture is, this is how we interact with our customer, and you educate AI as to how your company operates, and then let the chatbot operate for you, it starts to get scary good. Like, it starts to sound like somebody in your company is actually using it because it understands how your company works. So, but you can't just go in and hit the easy button and put a chat bot and expect it to be good. If you educate AI, it can get really good. And you do that by spending some time putting into AI. Here's our top 10 questions we get asked by customers, and here's how we answer them. So you start out by telling AI, here's the core of the information, and then you let AI understand that, and then let AI take that information and go from there. Not that it'll use exactly what you typed in, but it understands how your company operates. The other thing I have here is a price estimator. You know, I've built websites for a lot of companies, our company has, and you know, you used to have to write custom code to do price estimators if you really wanted a really complicated price estimator. Now you can do the same thing I was saying about the chatbot. You can tell it, you know, we charge this for this level of film, this for this level of film, for a 2-door, 4-door, if we're doing a sun strip. You can fill it with all the information, and it will, within minutes, AI will build you a very nice looking chatbot that you can embed right on your website. And somebody at any hour of the day can say, I have a 4-door Honda Accord, I want ceramic, and I want a window strip. And you load in what your prices are and everything, and it'll quote them. So, you know, you could be giving somebody customized quotes that are accurate to your business 24 hours a day. One of the tools you could use for that is a tool called Tidio, T-I-D-I-O. Most of these tools I'm going to talk about all have free versions, so I'm not going to tell you guys to go and get a paid version of anything. Most of these tools you have the ability to use for free. Most of them also have a paid gateway where you can get some extra features in that, but I don't want you going away thinking you have to spend a bunch of money to start using AI. Most of these tools that we're going to talk about today have a free platform. Did you have a question?
I was just going to say, if somebody's looking for a guide, message us at Eye Magnet and we'll send you one. We have like a list of about 40 free ones across a bunch of different mediums and platforms. So message us and we'll send you that guide.
Yeah, that's too many for me to get into today, so I'm talking about 5. So anyway, but thanks for that. Use AI to save time every day. You can use it, you know, to schedule your meetings for you. You can use it to create documents, like new documents or tasks for your team as they come in. You can use it to do all that in a very organized way. You could take a bunch of notes. If you're like me, I still write notes. I don't type things into my computer as I'm talking to somebody on the phone. I'm a pen and paper type of guy. Now there's tools where you can actually have it read, you know, as long as your handwriting isn't completely horrible, it can read your handwriting and it can summarize your notes and emails into a digital format so you can save that. So I can save it into a customer file, I can save it into our project management software, things like that. Again, if you're really good about typing it in, or you're one of the set of people that types things in, maybe you don't need that, but for me, like, to be able to summarize, so I don't end up having piles of paper on my desk, I can get everything digital by having it summarized. Google Calendar AI, if you have a Google account, again, you can use this for free. So Google Calendar AI is a good tool for what we're talking about right now. Use AI to stay on top of finances. As a business person, you need to understand a lot of key things about your business, whether it's cash flow, whether it's expenses, whether it's how your business is doing, like as far as just the basic business analysis. You have to get paid, you have to send out accounts receivable notices, you have to predict what your cash flow is going to be based on how your business is doing, so you don't get into obligations that are going to bury you, like a lease that's too large or something like that, or maybe hire too many employees and you're not going to have enough cash to do that. It's also big for those in the room that do bigger projects. A lot of times bigger projects are slow pay and things like that, and you better make sure you've got enough cash to whether if they're going to pay you in 90 days or 120 days, So you just put work crews out on a job that spent a ton of time doing that, and you've had to pay those work crews, but you now have to wait 90 days to get paid. Is your cash flow going to sustain that? You need to understand how to do that. AI can help with that. If you use QuickBooks, there's an AI tool right within QuickBooks. And I apologize, guys, if I'm kind of breezing over some of these tools, but it's almost impossible for me to get into the nitty-gritty of every one of these tools, but I want to give you some tools that you can use. QuickBooks, that's what we use at our company. There's AI tools within QuickBooks. There's also Xero. I'd be willing to bet you whatever accounting software you're using probably has an AI plugin for it. I mean, these are just two that I'm aware of. But I think it's important, again, it's amazing what it can do and the answers that it can give you in a couple minutes that you would probably taken you a couple years ago, hundreds of dollars and a couple weeks of talking to your accountant to give you answers you can now get in a couple minutes on things. So tools to try now. The two that I like that are like your basic AI platform are ChatGPT, which everybody's heard of, and one called Grok, G-R-O-K. These you can kind of use like Google search. You can just go in there, you could ask it questions, you could ask it to do things for you. You could write a whole article that let's say with SEO now, you shouldn't really write an article on your website that's less than 600 words. Sometimes people have a lot of good ideas about an article, but they write it, and it's 375 words, or it's 425 words, or something like that. You can take your actual information, so you're not asking AI to do everything for you. You take the information you have, your 425 word article, you can feed it into ChatGPT or Grok and say, can you rewrite this to make it 600 words? And it'll take what you've written and it'll elaborate on some different things and things like that to give you 600 words. If you're putting an article on your website, it should be less than 600 words. That's considered thin content by Google. So if you're like, man, I don't know what else to write about it, take what you have, put it in there, ask it to expand it to the number of words. It can help with things like that. It can help with research. It can help with references. I'll tell you a couple of ways of how we use it internally so that you guys can get an idea. If I'm looking for articles that I can use as a reference in my article that support my position, I can ask ChatGPT to direct me to articles that support that position without me having to go and scour through Google or whatever. ChatGPT within a minute will give me 10 articles that support my position that then I can refer in my article. So things like that, so research. It also, I use it for things like if I want to write an article or social post or whatever about something that's trending in our industry, and we have clients that are not just in the window film industry, but if I want to write something that people are talking about, I'll simply type in a ChatGPT or Grok, tell me the 5 most trending topics, what people are searching for most in the last 14 days about window film. And it'll tell me what people are searching for over the last 14 days about window film. Questions they're asking Google, questions they're typing in, topics they're typing in, and then I can use that as a basis to write an article. People are talking, I'll give you a great example about how I did this just recently. When Trump did an executive order about federalizing automotive aftermarket laws, there was a lot of questions floating around because I saw somebody come through doing a search like this, that did Trump just legalize window tint nationwide? There were people that were asking that question. He didn't, and it didn't override the state laws, but because so many people were asking it, I quickly wrote an article, basically summarizing what the law did, what the law didn't do, and I put that up there, and within the next 72 hours, I got 50,000 visits to my website on that topic because I hit it right when it was trending and I hit it with information people were already looking for. I didn't try to have to go out there and make them interested. People were already interested in this topic. I just created a piece of content that answered their question, and within 72 hours, that particular article got about, I think it was, to be accurate, I think it was like 48,000. visits in 72 hours on that topic alone. That wouldn't have happened if I didn't know what the trend, what people were searching for. You know, that's part of research you used to be able to do with different tools. Now it's a matter of 3 minutes. I can go in every Monday morning and ask ChatGPT, what are people talking about? What are people searching for with regard to window film? And if they're searching for something, asking questions, whatever, I can write an article that answers that question. And boom, I'm hopping on already momentum that's in the marketplace to write an article. Canva has an AI option. A lot of people have heard of Canva. Who's ever used Canva in the room? Anybody? Do you use the AI version of Canva? Okay. Canva allows you to create, it's kind of amazing what it can do. If I write an article and I don't have a good picture for that article, a good like featured image for that article, because I just can't find one on the license-free websites, or I don't have a picture that goes with an article, I copy and paste the whole article and I tell Canva, create a graphic / image for me for this article. And within about a minute or two, it will spit out 2, 3, 4 options of a picture that's generated out of AI, completely fabricated out of thin air, that in most cases are really compelling images, because it literally used my entire article, and I told it, create an image for me for this article, and now it's created an image. I don't have to worry about licensing, I don't have to worry about copyright, I don't have to worry about anything, because Canva just created it for me out of scratch. And many times those images are a lot better than what I could find if I was just using the images that are out there online, because it's actually using my article to create an image from scratch. Again, Canva, you can also, social media content, creating a post. A lot of times I'll take my article and I'll say I want to do social media posts to drive people to this article. I'll put my entire article into Canva or Grok or something like that, and I'll be like, come up with 5 different social media posts that are compelling and engaging for me about this article. It'll read my article and it'll come up with great social media posts to drive people to my article. So I'm using my work product, something I created, but instead of me trying to wordsmith the social media post, I'm just like, ChatGPT, create 5 social media posts for me about this article. And it uses what I've written to create 5 really good social media posts. The other thing it'll allow you to do, anybody that's done any website coding, Matt, who's our website guy that's sitting here, he can attest, like there's times where coding can be a little bit of a thing. If you miss one jot, one tittle on a piece of code, it doesn't work. If you go into Canva or ChatGPT and say, can you give me a piece of code that does this on a website, like create a price estimator for me, and you put all the data in, it'll write the code such that your webmaster can embed that code directly into your website, and you have a fully functioning widget without you having to write any code. So it used to take Matt 5 hours to do with a bunch of troubleshooting and going back and forth and making sure it's working properly, now it can probably be done in 30 minutes. So those are the type of ways. It doesn't mean the work isn't still being done. It's saving you a lot of time and it's saving you a lot of frustration. So the way Matt, over the next handful of years, is going to get better is he's going to be able to do things that he wasn't able to do. Maybe it was something that would have taken too long and the client didn't have the budget for him to be able to spend 30 hours writing code for a particular thing. Now he can deliver that desire to the client, because now maybe he can do that in 3 hours, which is within the client's budget. So you can accomplish more in a lot less time. Again, it doesn't mean that there's not a need. Some people are worried ChatGPT is going to take away anybody's jobs. Last time I think, there's not any like 5-year-olds in the room. I don't think they've trained any robots to install window film anytime soon. So I think everybody's kind of okay with that. But what it'll allow Matt to do is to deliver to somebody at a budget they can afford work that would have previously been unaffordable. So we can he can create a website for somebody for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 that 3, 4, 5 years ago would have cost you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Because you can move a lot faster. So that's Canva. QuickBooks we talked about a little bit. It can help with a lot of bookkeeping. They have an AI thing built right into QuickBooks. Same with Canva. These are all free. Tidio we talked about a little bit. Note with regard to some of the things Tidio can do. Notion is one we haven't talked about. That's organizing writing. So again, I told you guys I tend to be shorthanding notes and things like that. What I can do is I can then take those notes, feed them into Notion, and I can say, can you create the, can you summarize and organize these notes in such a way that it can be used for an article? Can you summarize or take these? So it can take a lot of vast information and make it into a coherent document for you. Notion's a really powerful tool that I think, like I said, if you're kind of like me, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, I had a lot of ideas of what I wanted to share with you. I knew I only had a certain amount of time to share it with you, so I even used tools like this to say, how do I consolidate all this down into a time that I can present and still leave time for question and answer? Like, help me like boil this down to like how I can do it, and even help me like put together some of the presentation. So I think Notion's another good one. Again, it's a free tool. Getting started is easy. This is the core of what I want to talk to you guys about today. If you, nothing else, pick one of the tools we talked about today and just start using it. You know, 10 minutes a day, whatever. Get familiar with it. See what it can do. It's kind of like holding onto that belt loop going on the aircraft carrier deck. Start using it. Start exposing yourself to the tool to see what it can do, so that you can start learning it. You know, I mentioned here, like, try one tool like ChatGPT. Try various forms of prompting. The magic of ChatGPT isn't just what it can spit out to you. What you'll find with ChatGPT is the better you get at prompting it, and that, like, what you type into ChatGPT, the better you get at that and telling it exactly what you want and really fine-tuning your prompting, the better it gets. So prompting is the real magic of, like, you could have two people that both are using ChatGPT or Grok that are getting massively different results because one is much better at prompting than the other. So learning what to type into it, but the only way you're going to learn that is to start using it. Like, you know, I could have spent 10 sessions over the course of these 3 days teaching you the granular levels of how to do, but we have 45 minutes, so I'm trying to tell you, but I think there's nothing that you can't learn by just beginning to do it. You're going to feel more comfortable, you're going to see how it works, you're going to begin to make changes. Use it, I say use it for 1 hour each week. No big commitment, don't get buried, don't like kill yourself with it. But commit to a platform and go in 1 hour a week and begin using it to figure out what it can do. I think once you figure out how it can work for you, you're going to start being like, I want to try some of the other tools. Like Ronnie said, we actually have a document we send out to our clients that actually has 40 AI tools and all the different things that it can do. Most of them are free. So depending on what you need it to do, there's an AI tool that can do it. And I've actually, I was asked to give this presentation to them 2 months ago so they could prove it, make sure it was okay. And if I'm lying, I've asked her to allow me to revise it twice in the last 2 months, actually in the last 3 weeks. I've asked her because things are changing. There's new tools that are coming out, things are changing. So even that list with 40 tools in 2 months is going to be obsolete because there's going to be 15 more tools that are now out there. So again, my goal of saying that is not to overwhelm you. My goal of saying that is, you know, to use my analogy earlier, grab onto the belt loop and get up on the flight deck and start learning this stuff. And the faster you start learning it, the faster it's going to start slowing down and making sense to you. And again, see how it benefits your business and refine how you're using it. Once you start using it, you're going to see what it does and you're going to be able to tweak how you're using it, and it's really going to benefit you, whether it's saving you time, whether it's saving you money, whether it's allowing you to do tasks that used to be tedious for you, but now you can do them really quickly. I think you're going to find that it really helps you out, but you got to jump in and start using it. Keep it simple. You don't need to be a tech expert. These tools are all made to be very very user-friendly. Find tools that fit your business, whether it's the list that Ronnie said he could send out to you or ones that you do research on alone. There's new tools coming out literally every day. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't try all the tools at once. Find a couple that you think will help you, find one that you think will help you, and start using it and make it a habit. And when you start doing it, you're going to learn by doing. There's no way. If they did ask me to do 10 sessions during these 3 days, I can't teach you from the stage. You still have to go home and start doing it. I can't teach you from the stage enough to where you're going to be able to go home and be comfortable doing it. You're going to be comfortable doing it by doing it. Again, I hate to keep going back to my analogy, but there's no school the Navy could have put me through to say, okay, you went through a 4-week school, now you're comfortable, you know all you need to know about the flight deck. No, it took me grabbing onto a guy's belt loop for weeks on end and navigating and working on the flight deck with a guy that knew what he was doing before I even started to know what I was doing. And then as I learned what I was doing, guys, I had to take people up, holding on to my belt loop. That's how they teach people in the Navy. It's like you don't learn. I can't send you to a school to say Flight Deck 101. This is how you learn. You have to do it. You have to learn by doing it. And that's the same with AI. Common concerns. Will it replace me or my team? I think I answered this a little bit earlier. No, it helps you actually accomplish more. Matt can build a better website in the same amount of time than what he could do 2 years ago. Let's say that you can do your business planning in an hour where it used to be a weekend that was a headache and was pulling your hair out. You can do it in an hour now. Use it as a tool to help you do more. Is it expensive? As I mentioned, most of these tools have a free option, which I would recommend before you jump in and start paying money. Right now, if you're not really familiar with the tools, you can learn enough from the tool on the free option before you determine whether you need to go to the paid option or not. Is it hard to learn? As I mentioned, most tools are designed to be user-friendly for beginners. The most important thing you can do when you leave this room is commit yourself to get started. What does success look like? Ideally, spending less time on things that are boring or that are repetitive or that are kind of the thing that frustrates you and you don't like to do. If I'm a sales rep, it made no sense at all. When I used to be a territory manager, I hated doing my expense reports. I hated it. Even though it was money I was going to get back, I hated spending the time to sit down and go through all my receipts and do expense reports. In today's day and age, I'd be using AI to make that a quick task, something that I can do very, very quickly. So eliminate boring tasks. More time to focus on your business or spend time with your family. If it's like, if you can get things done quicker, that might mean more time you can spend with your friends and family. Reach more customers with faster responses. None of us want to be tied to a phone 24 hours a day. Some of the tools that AI is coming out with allow you to be very responsive to your customers without you feeling like you have to be tethered to your phone 24/7. Again, we talked a little bit about better business analysis. I think certain businesses you really need to understand. I've seen businesses get out over their skis a lot in my 26 years in the window film business where they get into a lease that they really can't handle based on their cash flows and revenue and things like that. And they don't realize it until they can't pay their bills and things like that. So it allows you to really go through a lot of scenarios and make sure that you're on solid ground. Helps you create more and consistent and engaging content. Right now, I would say the more posts that you can put on social media and things like that, the better. If you can do 1 a week, that's great. If you can do 10 a week, that's even better. It's almost impossible, I think, I'll confirm, it's almost impossible to imagine that you could be overdoing posting or social media. This allows you, I'd also say, if you're like, I don't have videos, I have pictures and stuff like that, and I'm just not good at taking videos. You can actually take a bunch of pictures, feed it into AI, and create a really cool video out of the pictures, add great music, trending music on Instagram, trending music on TikTok, and take 10 pictures you had, turn it into a really cool 30 to 45 second video that's fast moving, has some great music, and get a lot of traction from that, taking pictures you already have sitting in a folder on your computer. So it helps you create more consistent and more engaging content with content that you maybe already have. So again, we sort of, I'm going to give you a couple more tools here. We talked about Tidio, we talked Pictory. This allows you, I talked a little bit earlier about how I create images. The last tool I'm going to talk about that I haven't talked about is Pictory or Lumen 5. This allows you to take text that you can type in anything you want, whether it's your blog, whether it's just you typing something out, and it will create an image based on what you typed in. I want a picture of, from the inside of a house in the living room, looking out a picture window at a beach with a setting sun, with a sunset. And it'll create that image for you. Typically, it can create a couple different images for you, and then you can, if you're like, this is kind of what I want, but I need to tweak it a little bit, you can take that one image and then add additional prompts to fine tune it. I kind of want the ocean to be closer, like I'm closer to the beach, and I kind of want the sunset to be further down on the horizon, and it'll tweak. Like, you can just continue to prompt it to give you exactly what you want. And you're literally creating images, you're creating graphics from thin air. I mean, that was something, if it's a graphic, you used to have to pay a graphic designer a ton of money to do that. Now you can do it here. If it's a picture, you don't have to worry about, like, is this license free? Is it copyrighted? Whatever. Because you just created it out of thin air, so you don't have to worry about that. So, Pictory and Lumen, most of the tools will allow you to create images. Some of them are better than others. Like, they have a better, they're sort of created more to create images. You could create images on ChatGPT and Grok, but sometimes they come out a little bit funky and they're not as good as what you can create on some of the other tools. But I use that all the time to create featured images for blogs. Like, I've gotten to the point where I rarely go and look for, like, license-free images or free images online. I just create my own images. And it's a better image than what I could have found, because I'm usually trying to find an image that fits what I want it to do, and sometimes it's not exact, so I'm just satisfied with it's close enough, where now I can create something that's exactly what I want. If any, did most of you guys get a Window Film Pros shirt? Stop by the Eye Magnet booth, got the graphic on the front of that, just so you know, because I knew I was going to be doing this session. That graphic on the front of it I created in about 2.5 minutes using AI. I downloaded it to a file that my printer can use. I sent him the file, and he basically printed the t-shirt. So if you got one of the Window Film Pros t-shirts, you actually have a sample of something that took me about 3 minutes to design. A lot of people are like, oh, I love the new design on the front of the t-shirt. That was about 2.5, 3 minutes on AI. So that gives you an example. That was created out of thin air. It didn't exist. I said I wanted to have a little bit of a vintage feel. This is kind of the saying I wanted to maybe have this. And it spat out like 10 options. I said I kind of like this one, but tweak this a little bit. And within 2.5 minutes, I had a file I could send to my printer. So we kind of went over this. Your next step, try a tool this week. There are endless videos online to help educate you. If you have a tool that you kind of like, the tool you're going to try, watch a couple of videos on that tool. There's so many videos out there that you won't have time or the energy to watch all of them. If you just type in Tidio, watch a couple videos about how to use Tidio, you will find more than you will ever want to watch. The other thing I'd encourage you to do is share what you're learning with your team. Ideally, if you had a team of a number of people, have each person playing around with a different tool. So at the end of every week, you guys can come back and you're all getting better, because now you're getting experience with 3 or 4 tools instead of just one. So share what you're learning with your team. Always be testing, always be editing, always be monitoring. Again, we mentioned the AI hallucinations. You can't just trust what AI is going to give you. Sometimes it throws out things that are misspelled. Sometimes it throws out things that you're like, that's completely inaccurate. I've had it say things that in a window film article that window film can do that just because of my experience in the industry, I know I'm like, that's not true. Like, you know, it's just fabricated something out of thin air that there's no truth to it. You know, as you go along, like I said, remember I said a second ago, you know, GPT and Grok can create images from what you type in too, but they're not the best tool for that. Lumen and a couple of these other tools are best. So if you start to say, I'm going to use AI for this, make sure there's not a better tool for what you're using it for. And that means there might not be a tool that exists today, but don't stop checking, because 2 months from now there could be a new tool that's actually doing it way better. So, wrap up. Understand that AI is here to help. It's not the bad guy. It's not the boogeyman. It's not going to take, it will potentially take away some people's job, but I don't think it's going to take away the people's jobs that are in this room. Embrace how it can help your business. Start small, stay curious. I've been doing marketing for, well, since got out of college after I was in the Navy, and I listen to AI podcasts, I watch AI video. I'm spending about 20% of my time during any given week right now trying to look out on the horizon as what's coming with AI and making sure that I understand what's happening so we can help our business pivot, help our customers pivot as things change. Stay curious. You never are going to know it all. And even if you know it all today, you're not going to know it all tomorrow because it changes. Best time to begin is now. Don't wait. It's going to and then I tried to leave a little bit of time for questions, but I don't know. So I'm willing to, as long as I don't get kicked off the stage, as long as we have time. I'm not hearing.
Okay. I'm talking to her. Thanks for the shout out, by the way.
Yeah.
It is funny. I saw that Eye Magnet's been around 10 years. I'm like, only 10? Weren't we talking about this like 20 years ago? Along that line, you talked about using AI to do search trends, right?
Yeah.
And you and I have been talking about this stuff since Web 1.0, and then Web 2.0, and then we got push, and then we got social marketing, and now we're getting into the pay for play for everything.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how AI is going to influence content creation from that standpoint? Because, you know, we've all done keywords. We're trying to figure out what works. We're doing our A/B testing and all of that. Well, now, does any of that matter anymore if AI is going to basically grab the data, stuff it into the model, and basically water it all down? And there's kind of a second part to this question. That's going to be, at what risk are guys like you and I that have been writing about things in our industry for 20, 25, 30 years? We've built a voice on the web, and now AI is going out there and, you know, scraping all that data and adding it into the model, which takes away our voice. Funny thing, you know about me and my surface finish stuff.
Yep.
Last year, I asked ChatGPT to help me write an article about the non-knock application situation. It generated 1,800 words in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, as I'm reading through that, I'm going, that's something I wrote. I mean, word for word, that's me, that's me, that's me. Because there aren't many guys writing about my topic, right?
Yeah.
And I realized what it was finding was all the stuff that I wrote. So I'm like, hey, that's cool, I'm here. But for those of us that are writing just about window film, because there's lots of other people out there that are doing the same thing, how do we set ourselves apart?
Okay, a couple different things. One, you can ask AI to, like, in the raw form, annotate where it pulled some of the data from. So to your point, like, if it's pulling from something you've written in the past, I mean, you can see where I tend to, if I'm writing a vehicle, or if I'm writing an article, I don't want it to do that, because I don't want to steal anybody else's information. So there is ways you can use it so that you're not just regurgitating something somebody already said. With regard to our voice, I think I'll go back to what I said. I think people like you and I and Matt and Ronnie, the people that had our careers are based on, you know, using these things like that. I think we have to understand, if the people in this room understand on a base level how to use AI, we need to understand it on a cubed level, if you you will. Because there's always going to be a need for somebody that knows how to use the tools better. I have a full toolkit at my house. I have a lift to where I can lift my cars up, but there's certain things I take to the mechanic because it's beyond my ability. Even though I have a tool set, even though I have a lift, that particular project is outside of my capabilities. I think as somebody that does what we do, we have to make sure that we're keeping our skill sets at a much higher level and learning how to use the tools. That's what's going to keep us relevant, and that's why I say I currently spend about 20% of my time every week looking at the horizon of AI and what it's going to mean in the next 6 months, year and a half. I'm not sure if I answered your question good or not.
I don't think there is an answer to that question. It's just trying to find a direction.
I can promise you, though, the things, and I'll be honest, the things that I did as a marketing agency owner 5 years ago, that I was like more reliant on me. It would be stupid of me not to pivot and our agency not to pivot to take things to a higher level, because things that people used to value and pay me for, this can do now in 2 seconds. So why would anybody continue to use me? The reason they would continue to use me or our agency or something like that is I'm hopefully now operating at this level, and I'm using this tool to do things that I couldn't even do 3 years ago.
I have one right here.
What are the top 3 things that a window tint shop or PDF shop that's in here right now can go home and do moving forward with any of these ChatGPT, anything like that? What are the top 3 things?
I would say content creation, more consistent, more volume of content creation, whether that's taking stuff that's on your website, your automotive page, your flat glass page, feeding that into ChatGPT and say, I want to have social media posts scheduled out I want to have 5 social media posts scheduled out for the next 7 months, using a tool that allows you to schedule it, and taking your automotive page, feeding into ChatGPT, saying, give me 15 social media posts about my automotive service. So you can create a lot of content where people before would be like, I don't have time to do it, whatever. Now you can generate a high volume. So that would be one. I would say the second is to, get a handle on, figure out what the time-consuming tasks are that you have in your business, because again, we're back to time being your most valuable asset. Find the things that you don't really necessarily enjoy but are spending a lot of time, and find out if there's an AI tool that can help you reduce the amount of time you're spending on it. And number 3, I would just say, most people in this room are business owners. I think there's a lot of business tools for AI. If you want to make sure you're running your business effectively, because again, you can be the best tinner in the world and still run out of cash and still go out of business. I think a lot of people in this industry can dramatically benefit from the tools that AI has to help you learn how to run your business more effectively. So those are maybe 3 things. If you gave me an hour to think about it, I might give you 3 different ones. But anybody else? I got Mary right there.
How do you get past, I want to incorporate more chatbots and AI and things like that, but the fear of it feeding the customers incorrect information or making us sound stupid, or, that's a fear that I have to try to get past. So how do you have any clients who have done that and it's working successfully, or, what's your experience with that?
Yes. The thing is, remember when I was mentioning feeding AI the information, the more time you spend up front educating AI, the better results you'll get on the backside. So you can't just implement a chatbot and expect it to work effectively, but if you spend a couple hours really whatever, you guys, probably every one of you, if I asked you to give me the top 10 questions people, when they come in your shop or you're out in the field or whatever, what they ask you, you'd probably tell me what questions you get repetitively. You can write that question down and you can elaborate and write what what your best answer to that is. You feed all that into the chatbot, so the chatbot understands a little bit more. And then you can continue to add things into the chatbot, into its library or its archive, so it keeps getting better. So that's what's going to enable it to give better answers, so that you don't have an answer that's wrong or one that doesn't present your company. But if you just implement a chatbot and you put it on cruise control, you're probably going to get bad results. I think you have to spend some time up front, and it learns. I mean, that's what AI is. It learns. If you spend some time to teach it, it will be really good. It's like, back in the day, if you hired somebody to answer your phones at your office, you'd spend a couple hours talking to them about questions they may encounter, what the answer to those questions are, things like that. You wouldn't just put them on the phones and expect them to answer questions. You have to do the same thing with ChatGPT. The difference is once you do it with ChatGPT, you don't have to pay payroll. The person works 24/7, 365. So you still have to train it, though. Just like you would have trained somebody that you hired to be a receptionist at your business, you still have to train it. But once it's trained, like I said, it doesn't sleep. You don't have to pay it. You don't have to do anything. And that's where there are certain occupations, unfortunately, that are probably going to go away because of ChatGPT, because it's going to do it as well or better than a human being can do it. And it never takes any time off. It never gets sick, nothing.
Does it give any kind of like analytics or anything like that? Like, any of your customers who have implemented that, do you get like chatbot analytics that are telling you like what questions customers are asking the most, often it's getting used?
Yeah, you can see how often people are using it. You can see like if people are like what questions they're asking the most, things like that. You also can tie it into your like Google Analytics and things like that, and see if somebody's been in the chatbot, do they then navigate to another page? Do they navigate to a contact form and fill it out, or things like that? So you can use it, and again, the tools are continuing to get better and better. So I think that, like I mentioned, the price estimator, that's something that wasn't, but I was like, people have been asking me since I started my agency, like, can you have the website really effectively like quote, so that I'm not having to field 15 calls a day to quote somebody on something where it's like 4-door car or whatever, ceramic tint. You can create a price estimator where if you spend the time to educate it, like we talked about, it'll give as accurate results as somebody at your company answering the phone and telling them how much a 4-door Honda Accord with ceramic tint and a windshield strip would be. And again, once it learns, it never